you're watching Gearz, brought to you by Holley Performance Products. Fuel your passion. And Cornwell Tools, the choice of professionals.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. You know, most people realize that muscle cars absolutely dominated the 60s car scene and into the early 70s. But then high fuel prices and insurance pretty much killed the muscle car for a while. Of course, it came back later. But in the 70s and 80s, another automotive phenomenon rose up that was just as popular as the muscle car. It was called the van craze, and everybody wanted one of these things because they were just a rolling canvas of customization. They could be a hot rod, they could be a cool cruiser, they could showcase epic paintwork and equally epic interior work. They could be the life of the party, or they could hide stuff that you didn't want anybody else to see. The craze continued for a couple of decades and then died out. But now, just like everything else, these classic vans, man, they are a hot commodity, especially an uncut, short wheelbase panel van like this 81 GMC Vandura that spent most of its life delivering laundry. Now, the good part is GM made this body style virtually unchanged for 25 years. So you can find one of these. But the question is, where do you find aftermarket parts to modify a classic van? That's what we're going to show you. Okay, when it comes to customizing, the first place that most people look is the grille, because it's the face, it's the personality of the vehicle. And these GM vans have changed a lot in the front over the years. The original 71 through 77s, as you can see, had this really cool V-shaped peak in the center of the hood. Then they had a grille that mounted to the front, flush against the body. Then, from 78 on, they started changing it. They started adding plastic, they started adding metal extensions to try to make it look like a square-bodied Chevy truck. But they didn't change the hood with a peak in it. So now you have this hodgepodge of styling confusion. It just looks terrible. So we're gonna fix this, and we're gonna show you some grille options that you may not know are out there. Now, the easiest way to make your van look better is to get rid of this original center section and then just pick yourself up a grille from a 81 to 87 square body Chevy truck. Either chrome, billet, whatever you like. And notice, it slides right in there, man. The width is perfect, and it will mount right in there. Now, the only issue is that these are a little too tall, so you will have to modify it a little on the bottom, and you will have to come up with your own mounting brackets. But as you can see, if you want your van to look more like a square-bodied Chevy truck, this is the way to go. However, this doesn't do anything to deal with this discrepancy up here. So we're gonna move on to the next one, and that means all of this is gonna come off. Okay, with the plastic and the grille out of the way, the next thing to come off are the lights, then this lower panel, and this panel here. Don't be surprised if the turn signals come out in pieces. Fortunately, we won't be reusing those. Okay, with everything removed, we're ready to deal with this upper core support. Now, obviously, it needs to be moved back to line up with the hood, and there's a couple ways you can do this. You can take a marker and run right down the hood line there, and then make another line here on the outer edge, remove this piece and weld it back together, and that will reestablish the line at the leading edge of the hood. Or, an easier way to do it is go down to a wrecking yard and actually buy the piece off of a 71 through 77 van. Then all you have to do is bolt it in place. Now, fortunately, these things are not hard to find, and I paid like 20 bucks for this one. So this is the way to go if you can swing it. Okay, one thing that's important to know about these core supports is that the perimeter bolts didn't change over the years. So that was good. Just like the fenders didn't change and the hood didn't change. But all this stuff in the middle, a lot of that changed over the years. So be prepared to do some cutting and some trimming and some drilling and modifying to these inner panels, the center support, whatever you need to make the panel fit right. Also, notice that the hood latch comes up in the same location, but the actual hood latches are quite different. So be prepared to do some modifications there as well. The key here is to take your time. You want this to look like a factory deal, but you also want it to be serviceable. Now, so far we've shown you how to modify your van to fit a cooler grill, but what we haven't talked about is the kind of grills that will fit once you do this. Now, obviously, there was a factory grill from 71 to 77. Those were cool, but these are getting hard to find, and now they're getting pricey. And what people don't realize is that the 70 through 72 GM truck grill is almost the same size as this grill. So these could be made to work. For example, this is from LMC Truck, and this is their heavy-duty, all-metal, chrome-plated grill for the 70 through 72 C10 truck. Now, it's not just the surround. This also comes with the headlight bezels and a billet aluminum insert. I mean, this thing is fully loaded, ready to go, and it gives us the custom look that we're after. Now, the crazy thing is, this brand new grill is actually cheaper than trying to find one of these and restore it. Now, I know some of you guys are looking at this going, wait a minute. I mean, there's turn signals here, there's different gaps, there's different holes. How is this gonna work? Well, this isn't a bolt-in, but it's close enough to where you can make it work. And we're gonna cover all these changes when we get back on this and show you how to finish grilling your van.
And now it's time for another quick tip.
If you have a project vehicle, you know that one of the realities of ownership is that eventually you're going to have to push that vehicle around the garage because it's not running. And that can be a little difficult if you're by yourself. Now, usually when people go to push a vehicle, they grab in behind it and start pushing on the back and doing all kinds of stuff. And you can move the vehicle that way, but that's not the best way to do it. Especially if you have really nice paint or fragile bodywork or fiberglass or fender flares or wings or anything you don't want damaged. No, there's a simpler way to move a vehicle that involves leverage, not just brute force. All you have to do is reach down with one hand and rotate the tire. Now you're using the tires and the axle ratio to help you move the vehicle. Once you learn this trick, you will never push a vehicle by the bumper or the back again, unless you just want to, or you can't get to the tires. If you'd like to learn more tips to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website.
And now, Sealtek, brought to you by Steele Rubber Products, helping restore the car of your dreams.
When it comes to weather stripping on a car or truck, there are three distinct areas to deal with. Rubber seals around stationary glass like windshields, rubber seals around moving panels like doors and trunks, and seals around moving glass like windows. Now, of the three, the one that wears out the quickest is the seal around the moving glass because it's subjected to a lot more wear and weather. But there's not just one seal here. No, there's actually three. Take a look. You have the run channel that holds the edges of the glass and allow it to slide up and down. There's the outer window felt that operates like a scraper to clean the window when you roll it up and down. And then the inner felt, which is thicker and usually fuzzy, and presses against the glass to keep it from rattling around when you're driving. Now, obviously, if you hear your glass rattling around, you need some window weather stripping. But there are some tricks to making these pieces fit right. Let's check it out. Okay, as you can see, the run channel and the window felts are available in two different styles. One with the stainless steel trim and without. And most of these on older vehicles are available in long, straight sections. So when you pick them up, you might notice that they're already kind of bent and crooked. This does not mean it's bad and that you send it back. No, all you do is just take it and you can easily straighten it right back up. Now the reason you're able to do this, let's take a look inside here. You peel back the liner, you can see inside you have a metal U-channel with grooves cut in it. That allows that channel to bend pretty significantly. Then on top, you see these trim pieces also have a groove running down them, and they fit right onto the edges of that U-channel. Now these three pieces move independently of each other, and that allows you to bend all three pieces accurately at the same time. Now, the window felts are a little different since they are basically a straight edge as opposed to a U-channel, but they are designed to bend the same way. Now, when it comes to actually bending this stuff, there's several ways to do it, but the goal is to bend both sides equally. And you can easily do that with your hands. Just need to go slow. Also, you can use the piece of glass that you're going to be going around as a pattern and bend that way. Another way to do it is to use a round object and bend around that. Now, it is important to remember here, though, there is a point of no return where you cannot go back the other way without putting an S in it or a kink. And of course, if you bend too far, you'll kink it and ruin it, and you'll need to start over. So you gotta take your time here. Now, bending the window felts is similar. On these smaller ones, you can easily bend those with your hands. But on these bigger ones, it's pretty difficult to do that with your hands. The best way to bend these is with a shrinker stretcher across the back. And once you're done, you'll not only have window channels and felts that will fit perfectly, but you're also going to stop that annoying window rattle.
And now, Lube Tech, brought to you by Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
There's no question that oil is the lifeblood of your engine. If you don't take care of it, your engine's going to die a nasty death really quick. That's why you want to keep your oil changed on a regular basis. But lately, oil additives have become all the rage, and that leads people to go, wait a minute. If I just spent a lot of money on a high-quality synthetic oil, why in the world do I need an oil additive? That sounds like money going down the toilet. And that is a valid question. So today we're going to look at the top reasons why you should be using an oil additive. Number one, they clean the goo and stiction that happens over time. Now, stiction is a fancy name for that burned oil sludge that builds up around bearings and seals and valves, and not only robs horsepower, but also causes wear by limiting the flow of fresh oil through the engine. Removing and preventing stiction buildup is paramount to engine longevity and peak power, and oil alone won't do it. That's where an additive comes in. Number two, they enhance the lubricating properties of oil. Everybody knows that one of the purposes of engine oil is to reduce friction on moving parts. All through the engine, you have metal parts spinning in close tolerance to each other, with only a thin film of oil keeping them from touching and destroying each other. So, adding additional lubricity to the oil will not only prevent friction and wear to the parts, but it will also keep heat from building up, because that contributes to the creation of the sludge we talked about earlier. Number three, they add additional protection. Let's face it, the inside of a running engine is a highly volatile place, with heat and caustic gases and acids flowing everywhere. This creates a breeding ground of oxidation, deposits, and all kinds of corrosion. And the right additive can target that and make sure it doesn't become a problem. And number four, it modifies viscosity and extends the life and performance of your oil. Everybody knows that engine oil will eventually start to break down, especially in modern engines that are subject to more heat and pressure. It doesn't matter how expensive your oil is, and the result of that breakdown can be catastrophic. This is especially true if you're towing or hauling, or doing any kind of racing or performance driving. Using the right additive not only rejuvenates your oil and stops it from breaking down, it also adds the lubrication and protection needed for high mileage, high performance, or extreme duty engines. Just remember this, if you're putting a strain on your engine, you're putting a strain on your oil. Putting in an additive can help your oil and your engine survive.
And now, Parts Bin.
You know, one of the most significant changes that has come along in the last 10 years regarding tools is guys transitioning away from using primarily air tools and to use primarily battery power tools. And that's because these battery power tools are so convenient and so strong that most guys have a big pile of them in their toolbox. And therein lies the problem. These take up a whole lot more room than a bunch of air tools. So how do you keep them organized and charged up? Well, Cornwell has an answer. Take a look. This is the Power Crib, and it's a box that's designed to mount to any Cornwell Platinum Series toolbox, and it adds some additional workspace on top and some casters on the bottom, but the real magic happens in the middle, because inside you'll find a massive double-sided organizational space to hold all of your power tools. Now, as far as keeping your batteries charged, you have a power strip with plugs and USB ports, so you can plug in chargers and keep everything ready to go. There's also a 13-piece accessory kit to help you organize all sizes of cordless tools. And to support all that weight, you have heavy-duty slides and roller bearings in the drawer to keep it rolling smooth. So at this point, all of your power tools, your batteries, your chargers can be packed away in one box and rolled over to the work area. No more chargers strewn out all over the shop. No more wondering if batteries have been charged, because they're all right there in the box. You know, sometimes keeping up with current technology means you got to change the way you do stuff. The Power Crib from Cornwell is a great example of how that can be done. One of the most popular accents to use on cars or trucks these days is metal. Whether it's aluminum, copper, brass, steel, doesn't matter. Nothing looks as cool as some brushed or polished metal, whether it's wheels or accent panels or toolboxes or accessories. The problem is, metal likes to tarnish and oxidize, leaving you with an endless job of trying to keep it looking nice. Well, there's a solution to this endless cycle of cleaning and polishing, and it's called Sharkhide. Now, this is not a clear coat, it's not a paint. This is a super thin sealer that wipes on like water and seals the pores in the metal and prevents it from oxidizing. So you put it on after you've cleaned and polished your metal, and it goes on so thin you'll never know it's there. Then once it's dry, you can clean the panel, scrub it, wash it. The Sharkhide protection stays on, and it can last for months, even longer if it's not subject to heavy wear. If you're tired of always having to clean the oxidation off your metal parts, you need to get some Sharkhide and give your hands a rest. Everybody knows that one of the main places that rust likes to attack is in the floors of a vintage vehicle. That's why you can get replacement floor pans for pretty much anything. But another popular place for rust is in the roof and the drip rails, especially on an old truck, because those are always sitting out in the weather, and nobody carries replacement panels for those. So finding a replacement was always a junkyard hunt, until now. Check it out. These are drip rail and roof repair panels from LMC Truck for the 67 through 72 Ford trucks. Now you can see that drip rail panel is stamped to the exact shape. It's out of 18 gauge steel, so it's the same thickness, and it is ready to be welded right in place once you cut that old rusty junk out. Now a lot of times on these drip rails, the rust goes up into the roof a little bit. That's where this roof repair panel comes in. As you can see, it's got that little gentle curve, so it fits the shape of that Ford cab perfectly. Now these are available in the 30-inch length for regular cab and the big 60-inch length if you've got an extended cab. So if you've got rust in your drip rails or the edges of your roof on your classic Ford, LMC has panels to repair that.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Woodward Fabrication, selling quality metalworking equipment since 1966.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from Stephen White, and his project is a 1925 Gearz Aerodyne. Now, I know you're thinking, what in the world is that? That's exactly what I thought too. Check this out. I promise you, you have never seen one of these before, because there is only one of these in existence. Now, a little background on this car. Basically, this thing was built in 1925 by a French aeronautical designer named Jacques Guérin, and he had decided that he was going to try his hand at building a car. So the Aerodyne is what he came up with. Now, Believe it or not, this thing is loaded with all kinds of huge innovations for the day. It had hydraulic brakes, it had rack and pinion steering, it had 2 spark plugs per cylinder. A lot of stuff that we take for granted today, he had back then. Now the body, look at this. It was an aluminum platform with an exoskeleton made out of oak, and then it was covered with aluminum panels. It kind of looks like a big sausage, but it was very unique for the day. Now, here's the deal. Guerin never finished the car. He got it running, but he never finished it. And then for some reason, he blew it all apart, hid or destroyed some of the key components so nobody would steal his ideas. Yeah. So now, years later, here comes Steven. He works for the Tampa Bay Auto Museum, and he's been given the task of finishing the car. You think your restoration project is tough? There is nothing tougher than trying to finish out somebody else's project. So basically what he's doing is going off of old renderings, old drawings, old patents, and he's finishing out the car. Now he's been working on it for 2.5 years, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. They said that it looks like they're going to have it done. They hope to have it at the Retromobile event in France in 2023. And then, of course, it will be on display at the museum so you can go check it out. Man, what a cool, cool project. Can't wait to see that thing finished. So to recognize such a cool project, we hooked up with the guys at Woodward Fab. We're going to give you one of these shears. You probably already have one, but you can never have too many of these for cutting metal. Then we're going to give you one of our Gearz shirts because obviously you're a real gearhead. Then we're going to hook you up with one of these deluxe project planning books. This allows you to keep track of everything that you're doing on a project. And then we're going to give you a Holley gift card so you can get some Holley products to go on one of your projects. And then we're going to give you one of these stunt double die casts because everybody needs to be able to do a little four-wheeling from time to time. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this and get your project featured on the show, you got to send it to us. Go to our website, go to Gearz Nation, and submit it into What Are You Working On? The website's also the place to find out more information on any products you may have seen on the show, any Gearz merchandise, and how to join Gearz Nation. You can also see Gearz episodes for free on our YouTube channel and become a channel member. That way you get bonus content and you get early access to all the new episodes. Also, don't forget to check us out on Amazon Prime for Gearz and the Gearz Restoration Series. Finally, don't forget to like us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're a radio person, make sure you check out our podcast, Tales of a Gearhead. All right, that wraps it up for us today. Hopefully this inspires you to get out there and start working on something. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be rare. It just has to be something that you like. Get out there, start working on something. We'll see you next time.